What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope you're all doing well. So, first two games of the World Series in the books. Game one was on Friday. The Blue Jays take game one at home. They beat the Dodgers 11 to 4. A runaway of the game late to take game one. Big game one win from them. Shout out to their bullpen from the Blue Jays after Troy Savage, the rookie. Well, it's crazy that 22-year-old rookie started game one of the World Series. He's such a great story. First round pick last year. Has had a very good postseason for the Blue Jays. Pitched very well down the stretch for them. Didn't pitch great, only goes 4 innings, but bullpen controls it from there. This game started early. Scoring started early in the top of the second. Dodgers a 2-on for Enrique Hernandez.
And a base hit into center field for Hernandez, and Teoscar Hernandez is on his way home. And the Dodgers have the first run here in the World Series.
Bases up the middle from Enrique Hernandez, makes it 1-0 Dodgers. Once again, first and second. You got no outs here. Now in the third inning, Will Smith would come through from the Dodgers.
And a base hit into right field for Smith. Betts is around third. And now they've got Freeman hung up between second and third. And Clement will put the tag on him.
Bad base running error from Freddie Freeman there. Could have been, led to an even bigger inning, but Will Smith goes with the pitch on over the outer half of the plate. Bases to right field, drives in another run, makes it 2-0 Dodgers. But in the bottom half of the inning, Dalton Varsho would make things even in the game for the Blue Jays.
And he hits a ball hard to center field. It is going. It is gone.
Bound hit dead center. Game tying 2-run homer for Dalton Varsho, who had a career offensively since he joined the Blue Jays this season. And then fast forwarding, bottom of the sixth, Blake Snell gets into some trouble, loads the base with nobody out. He comes out. They go to Emmett Sheehan, base with nobody out, facing Ernie Clement.
And the 0-1. And a base hit into left center. Kiner Falefa in to score. Kirk held at third, and the Blue Jays have their first lead of the night.
The next batter would be Andres Giménez, who would come through as well for the Blue Jays.
1-2. He got it to the outfield. A liner into right for a base hit.
Another big hit for the Blue Jays, Andres Giménez, who's only already in there for his glove. Has had a couple of big hits in his playoffs. He had 2 home runs against Seattle that were huge for Toronto. That was a big hit there. That'll be it for Emmett Sheehan. He would only he can get only 1 out. They go to Anthony Banda to face Addison Barger, who was pinch hitting to get the lefty-lefty matchup. However, Addison Barger will get the best of Anthony Banda.
And a high drive to deep right center field. It is gone.
Huge grand slam for Addison Barger off the bench. This is crazy. That was the first ever pinch hit grand slam in the history of the World Series. That's crazy. Big win for Toronto. They win 11 to 4, but game 2 would belong to the Dodgers. They win 5-1. Yoshinobu Yamamoto with a complete game, back-to-back complete games. Remember, he threw a complete game against Milwaukee as well, and I think it was game 2. Yeah, I believe game 2 against Milwaukee. So back-to-back complete game. I think it's the first pitcher with back-to-back complete games in the playoffs since 2001. I think it's the first complete game in the World Series in like 10 years. He pitched his ass off. 7 strikeouts in the game, just 1 run allowed, I think just 4 hits. Will Smith got this one started once again for the Dodgers in the first inning against Kevin Gausman.
Up the middle, it's a base hit for Smith. Freeman will come around to score, and the Dodgers have an early run on the board.
Big hit there for Smith. I mean, 1-2-0 held in the third inning. The Blue Jays would get even.
A 1-0. This is going to be plenty deep enough. Springer will tag, and on his way home on the sac fly.
Sacrifice fly for Alejandro Kirk ties the game. This would be a deadlock for a while. Kevin Gausman would retire the next 18 Dodgers hitters after that rough first inning, giving up the run. However, he'd be matched by Yamamoto, who would retire the next 11. Blue Jays hitters after giving up the run in the third inning. After giving up the two hits in the third inning, but top of the seventh, Dodgers would come through.
And hit hard, deep left field, and Smith has hit it out.
Really impressive swing there by Will Smith to turn on the inside fastball. He turned that like a freaking champ, launched that deep into left field. And 2 hours later, Max Muncy would add to the Dodgers lead.
Fly ball well hit to the opposite field. Luke is back, and this one is gone.
Opposite field home run for Max Muncy. Both weren't bad pitches by any means, really by Goldsman. He had a 94 mile per hour fastball pretty much around the inside corner. Smith just really turned on it, and that was a fastball, was like what, 96 on the outer edge, just catching the outer edge against Muncy, and he just went the other way with it. Dodgers go on to win 5-1. Yamamoto retires the last 20 Blue Jays hitters that came to face him. Just a dominant outing. Dodgers win 5-1. Game 3 will be tonight. It will be Max Scherzer for the Blue Jays and Tyler Glasnow for the Dodgers. It is time to talk some basketball. So no new stuff about the gambling scandal. Apparently, I read this morning that Antonio Gates was involved now, the old Chargers tight end, but nothing new on that. Although, if you haven't watched the Adam Silver interview during the Celtics-Knicks game, you should. It's almost laughable how bad that was. Anyway, let's talk about my projected standings in the Western Conference. I did my Eastern Conference projections the last show that I did last week. Now I'll do my Western Conference predictions. Apologize, this is happening about a week into the season, but these were my predictions heading into the season for the NBA's Western Conference. I have the Oklahoma State Thunder coming out of the West again. They'll be the 1 seed. The team is loaded. Shai is just an incredible player. Obviously, you've watched the first couple of games. He had, what, 55 in that overtime win. The guy's just so good. Incredible score at all three levels. I know he foul baits a lot. A lot of people don't like watching him, but he's very good at it. The guy's an assassin out there. He also plays defense. And you got Chet Holmgren, great defender. His offensive game continues to get better. Jalen Williams is a great player. And that team is so deep. They're so good defensively. How many role players do they have? The other Jalen Williams, Luke Dort, Isaiah Hartenstein is one of the best rebounders in all basketball. They have just so many good players on that basketball team. And Nikola Topic, who was a top 10 pick last year, talented point guard coming over from overseas, who was injured last year, is healthy this year. And they got a legit shot to go back to back because even with that second apron breathing down their neck, they extended everybody in the offseason. They paid everybody. Being said, next couple of years they should be the favorite to win it all because this is a really young team and it's really really good. The 2 seed I have the Denver Nuggets. And they got the best player on the planet, Nikola Jokic. The guy's obviously insanely good. You still have Jamal Murray, who's a good player. A little bit inconsistent. Not quite an all-star, but he's a very good point guard. He's showed up in the postseason in the past. They made some nice moves in the offseason I like. Trading Michael Porter Jr. for Cameron Johnson. I know you sent the first rounder out the other way, but I've said before, Cameron Johnson is basically a upgraded version of Michael Porter, and he's younger and I believe a little bit cheaper. He's under contract, I think, for like a year longer. He's an excellent 3-and-D guy. And you bring in Valanciunas is a nice big to have on the bench. So this should be a better team. They have a couple of young guys I like. Julian Strawther. He had the one big playoff game last year. I think we'll see more of that this season. They got some nice young pieces I think will play better this year. And that's a very good team. And they should have a chance to really make a run this year. The 3 seed are the Houston Rockets. Losing Fred VanVleet does hurt. He's a good point guard veteran that you re-sign in the offseason. But although with Kevin Durant, look, we know what KD is. He's 37 years old. He's had injury problems in the past. Doesn't play a whole lot of defense anymore. But the guy is still one of the best scorers in all of basketball. A lot of teams did not make a lot of sense to trade for him. I know there was talk that the Knicks were thinking about doing it. I'm glad I didn't. I didn't think that would have made a whole lot of sense for them the Knicks. But the Houston Rockets were the one team that it made sense for. Because of how young that roster gives him a proven veteran who's won 2 championships. He could possibly be a bit of a mentor. And because of how good they were defensively last year and how much offensive firepower they needed, this is what I think Durant is simply what they needed. They had Amon Thompson, who was great last year. He's such a good defender. Offensive game is going to only get better. It took a step forward last year. I think it takes another step forward this year. Alfred Sengun's a great two-way big. A lot of nice young pieces over there. Reed Shepard, who didn't play a whole lot as a rookie last year, he struggled a bit. Was in the G League at one point, but was the third pick in the draft. Last year's draft was very weak, so in other classes wouldn't have been picked third. But I think he's a kid who could be a really good shooter in this league for a long time. Torrey Smith is a good player. He should only get better. He's still really young. Tony Eason's not a bad player. This is a very good team. They're deep. They're good defensive. Now you have a legit number one option and a guy who can close in Kevin Durant. I know he hasn't had any playoff success since leaving Golden State, and I'm not exactly a fan of his by any means, but he is a great player. He can still score the basketball. He's last year was 36 years old. Granted, it wasn't very efficient. Suns missed the play-in outright, but he did average, what, 26 or 24 points a game. He's still a great scorer on the basketball. So Houston should be really good this year. No reason why they shouldn't. They got a lot of length. They had that crazy storyline that first game where every player was over 6'10". They got a lot of length. They're good defensively. And now they have a legit scorer, Kevin Durant. I think some of these young guys will get better around him as well. The fourth seed, the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's basically the same group sans the Cal Alexander Walker, who is a good player. You lose him, who's a key role piece. Last year, so last 2 years, we're in the Western Conference Finals. Didn't have a whole lot of luck. Lost to Dallas in what, 5 or 6 games 2 years ago. Last year, you lost in what, 5 or whatever it was to Oklahoma City. So Minnesota, I thought of putting them lower, but I thought about it. Anthony Edwards is an absolute star in this league, for sure. Saxton out there. Julius Randle is a good player. You bring him back. You have good size, not only with Randle, but Naz Reid's a really good player. Really good number 2 center to have. Just does it all. You can re-sign him on a long-term deal. Rudy Gobert, I do think he's a bit overrated, but is a great rim protector. Doesn't give you much offensively, but is a great rim protector. You still have him. And Mike Conley's a great defender. Been doing this a long time. He's your point guard. They have a couple of young guys that I think will play bigger roles this season. Rob Dillingham was a first-round pick last year. I liked him coming out. I think he'll be a good player. And Terrence Shannon was another kid you drafted last year who I think will play a bigger role and could be a good player in this league for a while. So, I mean, the two keys to me for Minnesota this year, Anthony Edwards has to improve as a playmaker. As a scorer, I don't think there's 5 better players in the league that I trust as a pure scorer and in isolation than I do Anthony Edwards. One of the best young players in all of basketball, one of the best players in all of basketball, period. But as a playmaker, I thought he almost took a step back. I think that's what's holding him back and the Timberwolves back. He's not doing a good enough job of playmaking. If he can improve as a playmaker, the sky is the limit for this group. If not, I think this team does have a ceiling, which is probably, if you're lucky, you get out of the second round. To be honest, if Golden State was healthy, if Steph Curry didn't get hurt in that series, they probably would have lost that series in probably 5 or 6 games. But this is still a very good team. If they get some better playmaking from Ant-Man and these young guys step up, this could be a very special group. The 5 seed of the Golden State Warriors. This should still be a really good team. They were 23-8 when they got Jimmy Butler last year. Steph Curry is still incredible. Jimmy Butler's still a great player, does it on both ends. Kuminga, they're all that. They end up re-signing him. You bring in Al Horford as a solid big man. Draymond, I cannot stand for the life of me, but he is a great defender. He's still kicking. I have a couple of decent bench pieces. Brandon Podziemski's a good young player who I like. I think Moses Moody will play a bigger role this year. This is a good team. I thought about putting them ahead of Minnesota. I even thought about putting them ahead of Houston, but I decided to hold off on that. This team is ancient. This team is old. Their starting lineup's average age is like 38. It's the oldest starting lineup in NBA history. That could lead to some injuries, which might cost them a few games throughout the season. And they need some of these young guys to step up on their bench. I think they'll miss Kevon Looney to an extent because of how good of a rebounder he was. Al Horford's probably a better player, just overall better player. But Kevon Looney was there for all 4 championship teams. What he brought just on the glass didn't really bring anything else, but what he brought on the glass was something you can't teach. But Al Horford is a good player. This is a very good team. The goal for them is simply just be healthy going into the playoffs. If they are healthy heading into the postseason, there is no reason why they can have a deep run. Okay, this is a dangerous team. I'll put them at my 5 seed. The 6 seed, I'm gonna go with San Antonio Spurs. I'm very high on the Spurs. Victor Wembanyama is obviously a exceptional talent. The guy's ridiculous. He's still what 22 years of age. The guy's an insane player. He's I would argue already a top 10 player going into this season. The collection of point guards they have. Stephon Castles was rookie of the year last year. Great defensive player. Offensive game hopefully takes a step forward this year. Dylan Harper, you draft second overall. I think he'll be a great player in this league. Darren Fox is a great point guard. And all the other role pieces you have with Devin Vassell and Jeremy Sochin and Kelvin Johnson and Harrison Barnes. This is a really good team. Injury bug kind of bit them last year. They would have at least made the play. I think if they were healthy last year, that didn't help. But Popovich has stepped away because of health concerns. He had to retire after the season from coaching. Mitch Johnson is now the full-time coach there. If they stay healthy, the sky's the limit for this group. I see no reason why they won't be a playoff team if they're healthy. Obviously, if injury bug bites them, that's going to hurt, and they're going to have a lot of trouble on a tough Western Conference. But if they stay healthy, especially with if you know with Wembanyama and Fox, who were the two main pieces who got hurt last year, if they're healthy, this team should be really really good. As for the first playing team, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Clippers. Look, they made a couple moves in the offseason. Bradley Beal, I mean, now he's making 5.5 million, not 50 million. He's a fine role piece, I guess. Could come in and score off the bench. I think he might be starting for them right now, actually. But I don't trust this team. They'll win 44 games, do like they always do. Harden will have some pretty stats. Kawhi will have some pretty stats, but Kawhi's gonna miss games, whether it's in the regular season and the playoffs or both. He's gonna miss games. Again, there's good players on this team. Yeah, Vika Zubac is a great rebounder. They brought Chris Paul back. Cool, I guess. Now, it looks like this will be his swan song. But his team is still ancient, injury prone, and they are the most obvious first round playoff I've ever seen. Like they are every year. They're my first playing team. Second playing team is Los Angeles Lakers. I don't see with this group. Luka's an incredible player, but doesn't play any defense. LeBron's already hurt. He's gonna miss the first few weeks. We all know the deal with him. Also, Reeves is a good player. Obviously, had 51 less than a career high. Rest of his team, like they brought in Marcus Smart. Not a bad defender to have on the bench, but he's also always hurt. I don't like the DeAndre Ayton pickup. He's basically a more heavy set Mark Williams, who the trade failed. The guy who took the trade for last year, the trade failed because of the medicals. He's a good rebounder, but doesn't score a whole lot. Terrible defender, injury prone. Just he doesn't seem like a very likable guy. I don't think he's very well liked by his teammates anywhere he's been. And ever since he left the Suns, he was a very very poor exit from the Suns. There was to be a lot more drama with him off the courts. He had that one like 2 week stretch where he went crazy and they called him down, more like calling him dominating. And then ever since then, the guy's been a very mediocre player. I don't think that'll do a whole lot. And just Rui Hachimura is a decent player. But other than that, this group just doesn't have a whole lot there. I just don't think they have enough. I don't think they're good enough defensively. I don't think they have enough depth. LeBron's 1,000 years old. He's not near the same player. People need to realize that. I'm not going to get into my LeBron stuff. I've talked about it a million times on the show how much I don't like the guy. But yeah, I almost put the whole lot of this group. And they were also, like the Clippers, they're going to lose in the first round. I think it's relatively obvious. The 19, I'm going to go with the Dallas Mavericks. Now, look, their ceiling is a lot higher than this. I truly do believe that. Cooper Flagg is, the first overall pick. I think he'll be an outstanding player, just a phenomenal talent. This group, you'll have Kyrie at some point. He's obviously a great point guard. Anthony Davis is a great power forward, does it on both ends, especially defensively. He's a stud. They have a lot of nice role pieces with Derek Lively and Quentin Grimes. Or no, Grimes they traded. I apologize. They have Lively and Daniel Gafford, Caleb Martin. They have some nice pieces there. But just so many injuries. Kyrie, we don't know when he's coming back. Could be Christmas, could be the All-Star break, could be the very end of the season. Anthony Davis is always hurt. This is an older group for the most part outside of Cooper Flagg. I just don't see, I think if everything goes right for them, they could be a top five team in the West and a tough out in the playoffs. I don't see everything going right for them. There's just too many holes with this team with the injuries and the age. Clay Thompson's another guy. Still a good shooter, but what, 35, 36. Not quite the same player. Obviously, a lot of injuries in the rearview mirror. I think if they're healthy going into the playoffs, this could be a team that could be a sleeper. But I just have a hard time seeing everybody being healthy going into the playoffs. My 10 spot is the Memphis Grizzlies. They'll have just enough to be that last team in. Ja Morant's a great player, but I go back and forth for Ja. I want to like him. These last 2 years, he's quieted the character concerns, but still he's got injury problems. I just don't know if he's a guy that you can truly build around. At least it won't happen in Memphis. Like turn by Desmond Bain, you get a lot back. KCP's not a bad three and D guy. You get back all those picks, but right now, today, I don't think it's going to help him in the short term, although in the long term, maybe it'll be helpful. Jaren Jackson Jr. is one of the best defensive players in basketball. Zach Edey did play pretty well last year. Their center, he drafted in the first round out of Purdue. Other than that, they have a couple of decent role players like Brandon Clark. GG Jackson's pretty good. But Ja does not have a legit second option over there. And I know I had Ty Jerome, he's a good player, good bench piece, but they just don't have enough. They're just going to be overmatched. They'll be the last playing team, and there's a good chance they don't even get out of the play-in once again. The Falcons are going to be out. First me on the Sacramento Kings. Their roster makes no sense. So DeMar DeRozan is washed. Levine, good player, but not a number one option. Always hurt. Doesn't play much defense. That contract is terrible. Sabonis is an excellent big man, underrated as hell, but uh, I don't know who the hell their point guard is. I think it's Dennis Schroeder, who's not a bad piece to have on the team, veteran. But there's a reason he's been on like 12 teams, whatever it is. Keegan Murray is a good player. I don't think he'll ever be an all-star, and why they give him 140 million. They don't know what they're doing over there. Not much else to like about this roster. They're as mediocre as it gets, and I don't think they make the plan. The Portland Trailblazers. Look, there's some young pieces I like in that group. I don't mind them trading Simons. They had too many point guards. Shaden Sharp's really good. You go have Scoop Harrison, who should be better this year in year three, coming back from the injury. I don't mind them sending out. Honestly, I'm glad they got rid of the Andre. I don't think that guy's any good. But yeah, I mentioned Sharp, Scoop coming back. Too many Kamara's a really good young player, great defensively. Jeremy Grant's a good player. I think Clayton could be really good. They got a good young group. You bring in Drew Holiday, who's still a great defender, but just they don't have a true number one option. They're still really young, still kind of figuring things out. I know they're kind of waiting for Damian Lillard to come back next year. That they brought him back, and now their head coach just got arrested by the feds for gambling. So they're just in a whole mess right now, and they're not going to make the play-in. Phoenix Suns will be the third team out. I mean, they did this to themselves with the stupid Bradley Beal trade. They bought him out. They traded Kevin Durant away. Devin Booker is an incredible player. He has nothing. Nothing. I don't think Jalen Green's anything special. I like the center you took, Kamal Malak. He's pretty good. Other than that, Mark Williams is a good player. A great rebounder, good athlete, but doesn't play defense, always hurt. Other than that, they have nothing. Absolutely nothing. Dylan Brooks is a good defender, also a head case to deal with. They did this to themselves. They suck. And the second worst team in the West with New Orleans Pelicans. Just what is going on over there? Zion, I mean, when he's healthy, he's a freak of nature. Looks to be in good shape finally, but the guy's always hurt. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. Trade CJ McCollum for Jordan Poole. I guess Poole, he's younger than McCollum. He's not a bad player, but he's not a star by any means. No, what else they even have there? Deontay Murray coming back from an injury. I'll get two wings, Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, but they also were hurt a lot last year. Can they stay healthy? I don't think Willie Green's a great coach. There's too many issues here. They're not going to be a good team. And the worst team in basketball, or at least in the Western Conference, I think they'll be the worst team in basketball, is the Utah Jazz. They suck. Last year, I think they had either the worst record, the second worst record, definitely the worst in the West. And I think they're pretty clearly worse. I do like them drafting HBL. I know there was all this stuff going on of him about the weird agent and stuff like that. But I think HBLE will be a great player in this league. I think he's a really good two-way player. I think he'll be really good. Lauri Markkanen's a good player. Took a step back last year. He's just not a one. I don't think the fit's great. Walker was a decent big man. But other than that, like you trade Colin Sexton for nothing. Taylor Hendrick hasn't expired a lot of conference. He was a high draft pick. Said last year the whole reason they were struggling and continuing getting worse. They drafted so many young guys. Some of the pieces you got back for Mitchell and Gobert in a trade. You're trying to see how they all fit and what they have before they really make a move. I think they're starting to realize this core isn't good enough to really have much of a ceiling and win anything. Hence why, they basically dump Colin Sexton in Charlotte. They buy out Jordan Clarkson. Uh, and I expect, I know they just gave Markin a huge deal last year. I would be shocked if he's traded at least by next offseason. Let these kids like Ace Bailey, even Taylor Hendricks, play some more minutes because they have nothing to play for because they're going to be very bad. I don't even know if they'll win 20 games. So I think there'll be two teams in the team this year for wins. There'll be Brooklyn in the East and Utah in the West. College football. Let's talk about it. It was week 9 of college football. Number 2 Indiana easily clears UCLA 56-6. No surprise, UCLA sucks. Mendoza, Fernando Mendoza plays well yet again. 15 of 22 for 168 yards and 3 touchdowns. Indiana, they're there for real. 8-0, 5-0 in the Big Ten. Number 3, Texas A&M beats the brakes off of number 20 LSU, 49-25. LSU has fired Brian Kelly. Brian was kind of on the law. He was never a fit. Do you remember when he took the job? First of all, Notre Dame was about to play a playoff game, and he getting ready to possibly play a playoff game or a big bowl game, and he left them like that in the middle of the night for LSU. And then at an LSU basketball game, he like spoke to like all the fans and the students. He put on that fake accent. But when I first heard it, I was like, maybe it's just the microphone, like him talking into a microphone. But then I compared it. I listened to compared him talking like that to like him. It was his speech to Notre Dame in the locker room, like just the audio clip of him like kind of saying goodbye to his team and kind of explaining to them why he was doing what he was doing. I was like, wait a minute, he put on a fake accent to try and like sound like he was a Southerner. He's like, dude, you're from Massachusetts. You coached at Notre Dame for X amount of years. That's in what, North Carolina or something? I don't know. I suck at geography. I failed geography in school. Um, you're from Massachusetts. Where is this Southern accent coming from? You don't talk like that. It was just never going to work. LSU coaches, the guys who have come through there, I was Nick Saban. Les Miles was there for a long time while Natty Cocho at Ogeron. You know, they won by just kind of embracing the football team, embracing the fans, and just doing whatever it took. But Brian Kelly, he never just truly embraced the culture there. He was kind of just there to more to collect the paycheck. They gave him a huge $100 million deal. They gave him almost NIL money. He was like, "Oh, I'll just throw it at a bunch of players and see what happens." And just he was never just a guy that he always was. How many tantrums did he throw in the press conference in 4 years? God, dude's a man child. I don't see him getting another job. He can't win the big game. He's a dickhead. Like I swear, if he takes a job in California, he's gonna start talking like he's some surfer. If he takes a job in Florida, he'll start talking like a Florida man. Just stop, dude. So he's not a genuine guy enough. Uh, shame because they were winning at the half, and then they outscored 35-7 in the second half. A&M's really good. They're top 3 in the country for a reason, but man, Marcel Ray throws for 200 yards and two touchdowns, runs for 108 more, 2 more touchdowns. Number 4, Alabama beats South Carolina 29-22. So South Carolina actually was the better team for a lot of this game. The game was tied. They were South Carolina was actually winning at one point. They were up 22-14, 2:20 to go, and then Alabama did this.
Hand him the football. Second goal, Simpson. Here is Bernard, and there is the end zone. Hill over. He takes the direct snap. It's a trick play to the end zone. Simpson's got it to Cuevas.
Touchdown. Nice little trickery on the 2-point conversion. They convert. They tie the game. And then South Carolina's like trying to regroup. They would get the ball back with just over 2 minutes to go. A chance to go down and score and still pull out a huge upset but then this would happen.
2nd and 4. Work to the gun before that. Here is Sellers, and he's wrapped up by Tim Keenan. Ball may have come out right at the end there. Now they're ruling him down, but you can see Alabama arguing for it. And it is! It is a turnover!
Crucial fumble on a quarterback draw by Lenore Sellers. Tough break for him. He has played well. A lot of people thought he was going to be a potential QB1 going in this class going in. He has played well. South Carolina just sucks. But key fumble there. Bama would get the ball back, and late in the game, this would happen.
With a direct snap. They fake it to Simpson, and Bernard breaks free. Jeremy Bernard! How about it?
Another creative play called direct snap, the fake pitch, and a rush touchdown for Alabama. They would score, there was what, 37 or 36 seconds, maybe 34 seconds left on the clock. Alabama comes from behind and steals one and escapes with a win against South Carolina, 29-22. We had Oregon who came in ranked 6th. They beat Wisconsin 21-7. Wisconsin, they suck. Luke Fickell's gonna get fired. He's got to be a goner. They can't pass. You had number 7 Georgia Tech beat Syracuse 41-16. Syracuse flat out sucks this year. They were starting to make some strides, but not so much this year. Haynes King plays very well again. 25-31 for 304 yards and 33 touchdowns. Also ran for 91 yards and 2 scores. That kid's really good, I'm telling you that. That kid's going to be a good player. Georgia Tech remains undefeated at 8-0. Number 8 Ole Miss beats number 13 Oklahoma in a thriller, 34-26. This was a very good game. This game was closer, so I couldn't find the clip. Did much of you guys saw that failed fake punt by Ole Miss? That was so dumb. Early third quarter, you're in complete control. You're up, I think, 22-13, something like that. And for that to happen, just terrible play. Oklahoma go down and score. Made it 22-20, almost field goal. Made it 25-20, but late in the third quarter, Oklahoma would take the lead.
Chatania went in motion again, dangerously close to heading up the field. Robinson heads to the end zone. Touchdown!
Rush touchdown there. That puts Oklahoma up by a point. Would not get a 2-point conversion, and that would leave the door open for Ole Miss to do this.
We haven't seen much of that today. Play fake to Lacey. Chambliss throws wide open. Touchdown!
Great play there by Chambliss to escape the sack, throw up a touchdown. Ole Miss escaped with a win 34-26. Lane Kiffin, he wants to prove that he's worth the money that somebody, whether it's LSU, Florida, or somebody's going to throw him in the offseason. Or maybe your team wants to stay there. Who knows? But they win for Ole Miss over the Sooners. Number 9, Miami beat Stanford 42-7. So our team already fired their coach. They're not very good. Miami wins again. Horstenbeck didn't play very well. He's not very good. But Miami easily beats Stanford. Number 10, Vanderbilt beats number 15, Missouri 17-10. Missouri had their backup quarterback in there. Vanderbilt 7-1. They continue to play some really good football that probably gashes Missouri's chances of a college football playoff appearance. Number 11, BYU, another big win in the Big 12. They beat Iowa State 41-27. Continue to play well. They're at 8-0. Number 14, Texas Tech. They shut out Oklahoma State 42-0. God, Oklahoma State, they are horrible this year. So bad. Obviously, Mike Gundy's already gone. They're bad. They need kind of a reset. But BYU and Texas Tech look like that might be the Big 12 championship this year. Both playing really good football. Number 16, Virginia beats North Carolina 17-16. Gio Lopez played a little better. Still not great. UNC, what is going on? 2-5. I think Bill Ray's going to be fired or bought out. He's just going to say, enough. I'm done. Mutual. He can't come back next year. The guy doesn't care. He just wants to hang out with his 24-year-old girlfriend. Something weird's going on there. I don't see how Bill comes back. Number 17, Tennessee against Kentucky. Tennessee easily wins, 56-34. Kentucky's not very good. Aguilar, another strong game, 20 of 26 for 396 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's replacing Nico Imaliva at UCLA, and UCLA 3-5. I think Tennessee made the right choice for sure. Memphis with a bit of an upset. They beat USF 34-31. That group of 5 team that's going to make it, it's really interesting. For a while, we thought it was going to be Memphis, then it was USF. But Memphis, after a tough loss 2 weeks ago, people kind of falling off them. South Carolina, South Carolina. South Florida was really looked like the team, but Memphis beats them. That makes things very interesting. They now have a better record than USF. We'll see what happens. Number 19, Louisville beats them unranked Boston College 38-24. No surprise, Boston College flyout sucks. They're 1-7, 0-5 in the ACC. Number 21, Cincinnati beats Baylor 41-20. That Big 12, it's something else, man. Very competitive. No true elite team, but there's a slew of good teams that are still in contention. Number 22, Texas beats Mississippi State 45-38 in overtime. Crazy comeback. Mississippi State was up 24-14 at the half. They were up 31-14 going into the fourth quarter. I think it was 38-20 or 8-25 with like 5 or 6 minutes left. You saw Brendan Walker from Barstow's a huge Mississippi State guy, was there. At one point he was like basically on the field and he just he was right there. He was on like almost on like the sideline, but like further back when Texas had a punt return with like a minute 47 left to tie the game. He was right there for a game-winning touchdown in the end zone. Portnoy was dogging on him so many edits. He went on that one of their shows, and the one guy was trying to like cheer him up, and he goes, "Suck my bleeping dick." It was so funny. That was a pretty funny, tough weekend for him. Mississippi State lost to 4-4, 0-4 in the SEC. What a brutal season for them. Texas gets a 6-2. Washington for small upset over number 23 Illinois, 42-25. Houston pulls off a bit of an upset, 24-16. They were up 24-0 going into the fourth quarter. Arizona State comes back, they hang on and win. Houston 7-1. They might win the Big 12. Who knows? And number 25 Michigan beats Michigan State 31-20. Jonathan Smith's got to go for the Spartans. He's been terrible. They're 0-5 in the Big Ten. How are you 0-5 in the Big Ten, dude? He's got to go. He's got to go. NFL Week 8 action. The Chargers beat the Vikings on Thursday Night Football 37-10. Big game from Herbert. The little Vikings out of the water. You had Dolphins beating the Falcons 34-10. Bit in an upset. Tua 20-26 for 205 yards and 4 touchdowns. Something weird happened. His eye was like almost like swollen shut. People were saying he had pink eye or something. Very, very weird. I saw one thing on the internet that says we got all this gambling stuff going on, and then all of a sudden he starts playing well. It was kind of a funny meme. Anyway, they get to 2-6. Falcons up to 3-4. Raheem Morris has got to go. He is a joke of a head coach. How's the team this bad? The defense shouldn't be that bad. How do you beat the Bills in primetime and you lose 30-0 to the Panthers and 34-10 to the freaking Dolphins? That's a joke of a football team. The New York Jets have won a football game. I cannot believe it. They beat the Bengals on the road 39-38. Justin Fields, who was drafted him up by his owner, only starts because Tyrod Taylor was hurt. 21-32 for 244 yards and a touchdown. Big game from Breece Hall, 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jets ran for over 250 yards in this game. Chase, 12 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. Bengals were up 24-13 going into the half. They're up 31-16 going into the fourth quarter. And late, the Jets would be down 2 touchdowns, but would start to work their way back.
We think Isaiah Davis is playing himself into a bigger role in this Jets offense. He's been terrific for New York. Here's Breece Hall breaking one for the Jets. Hall, second effort, and he's in for the touchdown.
The late handoff, kind of fake read option by Fields there. Hands to Hall. Big play from him. Runs in for a touchdown. They would get the 2-point conversion after further review. They ruled that who was it, Tyler Johnson, whoever it was in. That got the Jets to within 6. And then after getting a big third down stop, sacking Joe Flacco on 3rd attempt for their only sack of the game the Jets defense had, a trick play would give the Jets a shocking lead in this game.
A closer look at him, and that just adds to the intrigue here down the stretch. Hall, boy, thought about it, now tosses to the end zone, and he's got Taylor for the Jets touchdown.
Toss to Breece Hall. He like did like a fake throw. This looked like another one of those broken Jets plays, and he throws it. One of the ugliest looking throws I've ever seen. Great by Mason Taylor, using his height advantage to come down with that. He had a really good game. He's going to be a really good tight end. Miss League. He's played very well as a rookie. That puts the Jets up by a point. But Bengals still had a minute 48 to go down and score a field goal and win. All 3 timeouts, but the Jets would come up big.
Have safety help. Day comes down to this for the Bengals. 4th and 9. Flacco protected. Flacco's pass incomplete.
4th and 9, they force an incompletion. Jets win 39-38. Their first win in the year. They're 1-7. Bengals up to 3-5. Zach Taylor needs to be sent away. Send him anywhere else. I don't care, the Bahamas, the streets, somewhere. How do you give a 15-point lead to the freaking Jets? How do the Jets, who have one of the worst receiving corps I've ever seen, Gary Wilson's hurt, Josh Brown's hurt, your top receiver going into the game was Tyler freaking Johnson, who's been a fifth receiver his whole career. Just Justin Fields was crying in his closet during the week because the owner hurt his feelings. Granted, what he done, that guy is a clown, what he said. Only started because the backup was hurt, he was going to replace him. And they score 39 points on your ass. They run for almost 260 yards. Isaiah Davis is a third string back in this league. Had like 8 yards a carry. Like, how do you do that? Why did he run it? They had 44 seconds left. They need like 20 yards for a field goal. 2nd and 9, he did a run up the middle for no gain with Chase Brown. That was a horrendous play call. 3rd and 9, pocket collapses, Flacco throws away. 4th and 9, USOV drops the ball. Just horrid. Had Jamar Chase only have 3 catches in the second half. Higgins didn't do a whole lot, facing just a god-awful secondary without Sauce Gardner. Their secondary, Jarvis Brown is a good slot corner. Brandon Stevens flat out sucks. Their other outside corner, I don't even know his name. That's how bad he is. Bad the team is. Wow. Just awful, awful loss for the Bengals. But big win for the Jets. I don't know about big win. They're 1-7, but at least they won't go winless. Patriots beat the Browns 32-13. Another great game for Drake May. 18 of 24 for 282 yards and 3 touchdowns. Matt Collins at 89 yards. Patriots 6-2, continue to play well. Browns are at 2-6 this year. Eagles beat the Giants 38-20. 150 yards and a touchdown for Saquon Barkley. Tough break for the Giants. Cam Scavo, their breakout rookie running back. Dislocated his ankle, really nasty injury. I was honestly going to show it, but I watched the clip. I was like, I cannot show this to the public. It was too nasty looking. He's out for the year. Tough break for the Giants now having him and Malik Neighbors both out for the season. They're 2-6. Alfie Jackson was frustrated after the game. Frustrated when the injury happened. Scatterbow. Giants up to 2-6 on the season. Eagles improved to 6-2. But like tush push in the offseason, get rid of it. You can't officiate it properly. That should have been a fumble. You had 2 passing interference calls. The Giants didn't go with Giants, whether that should have enough. Enough of the BS. Get rid of it in the offseason. Get rid of it. Bills over the Panthers, 4-9, absolute blowout. Andy Dalton looked pretty bad as we all thought. James Cook ran for 216 yards and two touchdowns. Carolina's that run defense is very bad. Bills get the 5-2. Carolina drops to 4-4. Ravens beat the Bears 30-16. Two touchdowns for Derrick Henry. How did the Bears lose to freaking Tyler Huntley? They suck. Caleb Williams, I told you guys, he's just not it. He's just not it. Didn't do enough. Texans over the 49ers, 26-15. They looked much more encouraging. Stroud played well, 30 of 39 for 318 yards and 2 touchdowns. Xavier Hutchinson steps up. Nico Collins hurt. He had 69 yards and a touchdown. Niners obviously have a ton of injuries. 5-3. Texans get to 3-4. Bucks over the Saints, 23-3. Ratmer did not play well. A couple turnovers. He gets benched for Tyler Shook, who looked, I would argue, worse. Saints suck. They're 1-7. 75 yards in the loss for Rashid Shaheed. Very easy win for the Bucks. Broncos deplete the Cowboys 44-24. Bo Nix for 247 yards and 4 touchdowns. Troy Franklin, 6 catches, 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. 15 carries, 111 yards for J.K. Dobbins. A couple touchdowns for R.J. Harvey. Dallas, their offense didn't play well in that game. They did play what I think is the best defense in the NFL. But their defense, had that rant saying the Jets defense was the worst in the league. They're definitely bottom 3 to 5, but Cowboys, that defense is horrid. It's got to be the worst. They're now 3-4-1. I don't think the Parsons trade is a big part of that. Now, Trevon Diggs had a home instinct. He's going to be out at least the next 4 games. He's on into reserve. Just what a joke. Broncos, though, they're playing some good football. They are 6-2. But that's playing well. The defense is great. They're really good. Colts over the Titans, 38-14. Indianapolis Colts, man, 7-1. What a season they're having. Daniel Jones another good game, 21 of 29 for 272 and 3 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor has got to be the MVP of the league right now. He's ran for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns, 95 yards and a touchdown for Michael Pittman. That Colts team is really good. Also, the Titans are so horrid that it's not even funny. And the Packers beat the Steelers 35 to 25. Jordan Love 29 and 37 for 360 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tied up Packers franchise record with 23 completions at one point in the game. 143 yards and 2 touchdowns for Tucker Kraft in the game. Steelers were up 16-7 at the half. Remy comes from behind in the second half. Dominates in the fourth quarter. They pick up a win. So Rodgers' revenge game does not go according to plan. Big win for the Packers. They get to 5-1-1 on the season. Steelers now 4-3 is the most obvious. 9-10-7 first round playoff blowout loss I think I've ever seen. To finish off, let's talk Friday Night Smackdown. Recap Smackdown from Friday. Kicked off with a Cody Rhodes promo. The promos are so boring at this point. He was interrupted by Drew McIntyre. Cody's obviously accusing him of attacking Jacob Fatu backstage. McIntyre says he didn't do it. I'm excited to see who they reveal as attacker. I think it can't be Drew McIntyre. That'd be too obvious. Anyone who's watched the WWE for more than, I don't know, 2 weeks should know. Like, that would be too obvious. It's gonna be. I think it would be a cool twist if it was Cody. That would be a crazy twist. I think it's gonna end up being Randy Orton, which will also be a crazy twist. Yeah, that's how you turn him heel. But yeah, it was that was all obviously to write off Jacob Fatu was hurt. But obviously, eventually, Soul and the MFTs came out to the ring. They had a tag match. They had it was Tama Tonga who's back, and Jason Mateo against Ray Fence and Shinsuke Nakamura. The MFTs win the flow with some shenanigans. Match was just kind of okay. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how I feel about the like their face paint. Um, it kind of makes them stand out more. It helped with their presentation. I still feel like their presentation needs some work. I think that it's a talented group. They need to be presented a little bit better. Like Jason Mateo's presentation is so bad, it's not even funny. But starting to get a little bit better, hopefully. You had Keanu James against Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany wins, and then Jade Cargill is back, and she turns heel. So people are still getting a Tiffany and uh, Jade feud like again. At this point, I don't care anymore. This woman's the WWE Women's Championship reign for Tiffany is so bad. She's so sloppy in the ring. She's not that a great talent. Jay just again, I said before, this is why we have NXT. Okay, she should have went to NXT first. She's not ready. At this point, put the world title on her, get the title off of Tiffy, have Bianca come back, to have Bianca take the title off her, have Bianca and Naomi WrestleMania at this point. I don't care. I'm tired of this BS. Obviously backstage, Chelsea Green tried to get Julia to join forces, and Keanu James said, "Yeah, that's not going to happen." Julia kind of spit in their face. Um, she had that. Poor Julia. What the heck am I doing with her now? She might be feuding with freaking Stratton. I don't know what the heck's going on. You had Ilya Dragunov, his first ever United States Open Challenge. He continued it from what Sami Zayn did, and it was Aleister Black. Ilya picks up the win. Obviously, after the match, Damian Priest came out and took out his frustrations on Aleister Black when Zelina Vega stepped in. Boy, I'm so happy that those two are together. They're obviously married in real life. It's such a perfect fit. Not just because they're married, but just the characters fit so well together. So Ilya picks up a win. Very good match. So happy he's back in that. He's the U.S. champion. Who's Sami Zayn for making the call to drop it to Ilya Dragunov. Please stop calling him Sammy Hogan. He's never been world champion. He did this. Stop. Enough. But Dragunov's back, and I like where they're going with Aleister Black. I'm not sure where they're going with Priest and Black at this point. I think it's kind of been overdone, but see what happens this week. And the main event was Jimmy Uso against Drew McIntyre in a no disqualification match. McIntyre uh, picks up the win. He attacks him after the match. Cody comes up to help. McIntyre kicks his head off. Surprise, surprise, not really. I hope Drew beats Smith on this main event. Enough of this BS with Cody. I've had enough. That SmackDown was pretty like it kind of usually is, but it is what it is. That's all I got for you guys today. Till next time, so long. Have a great day.